welcome to the very first episode of our podcast. And with me today here, I have Marwa from our social media team. How are you doing today, Marwa?
Hi, Booja. I'm doing really good. The day just started, so let's hope it continues to be a good day.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Are you an iPhone user?
Personally, I feel having used Android for a bit, because my family, some of them use Android, and having used iPhone, iPhone is more user-friendly. You can quickly understand how to navigate through the phone, how it works. I did struggle a little bit with Android, and that's just my honest opinion. So, you are an Android user, isn't it?
Yes.
And have you used an iPhone? What do you think?
No, I haven't used an iPhone. And I'm surprised to hear you say that iPhone is easier, because I always hear that iPhones are hard to use than Android. Maybe that was just incident because of all the limitation. But yeah, I've always been an Android user. This is my first time using a MacBook, so I might change to iPhone soon. Who knows?
I don't know why I've also heard a lot of people say that iPhone is more user-friendly than Android. But of course, I guess it depends on user to user. Like, if you're already well-versed with Android, you find it easier than iPhone and vice versa. But I have that personal opinion because I tried using both phones when smartphones actually came out, and I chose to go with iPhones.
So we've come a very long way since smartphones have been introduced, and every day there is a new feature. They're trying to make it better. They're trying to make it helpful. So the recent thing about the iPhone, the recent features that have been installed in the iPhone and launched, what do you think about them?
The safety features.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you read about the buzz that went around it, right? That it actually started calling the emergency number when people were on roller coasters. Yeah, it's a bit of pro and con situation. And that actually is making me think if safety features are really created in our favor. And that brings us to our question, which is, do tech brands actually create safety features while having the best interests of people, or is it a marketing gimmick?
That's a huge subject that has a lot of angles. People can talk about it for many hours or days even, regarding the safety and all of that. So what do you know about the risk of this new feature?
This is the risk that I've read where you're on falling from a particular height, or seem like you're in a crashing situation, whether it's like in an amusement park, or you could actually be in a crashing situation. It calls the emergency.
Warren County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
The call starts like this.
The owner of this iPhone was in a severe car crash and is not responding to their phone.
A robotic warning on repeat, followed by this. Or this. But this isn't a real emergency. It's a roller coaster ride at Kings Island.
Obviously, the con of it is, while the emergency team does show up, but you're actually having fun at an amusement park, after a certain point of time, they might not even respond as quickly as they used to, because now they don't know whether it's really an emergency situation or if it's
as a situation that pumps adrenaline on your body.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure about how I feel about this feature, because of course it has its disadvantages. I believe, if I remember correctly, that Google Pixel had introduced this feature 4 years back, and I don't think more than 1 or 2 cases were reported where the people actually got the help. Then again, all of these features require a certain preset condition. Like your GPS should be turned on, or your wireless should be turned on, your location should be turned on, and only then the safety features would work.
Yeah, so I think from my understanding regarding the subject, regarding this feature or any other like type of situation where you use an AI to make the situation better or make decision in behalf of humanity, that you have to make two of them. One that's like monitor the environment, and the other one is the one who makes the decision. So what I know regarding, for example, the self-driving cars, for let's say Tesla, for example, I think it's the one. So when it's first launched, Elon Musk was insisting that Tesla is not going to be the one dominating this market, at least in the upcoming year. Why? Because their AI was focusing more on analyzing the environment other than actually making the decision. So even when it's come to AI, you have to find that sweet spot between what is the right decision, which we as humans, we struggle with. So let alone give that decision to an AI to work on it. So from my point of view, I think that it brings up a lot of philosophy questions, like humans have morals, humans have a lot of things to consider, but an AI has like numbers. It works by numbers. It either does this or it doesn't. But a human in that situation might do something that's completely unexpected. So that's why right now when driverless car or cars with assistant AI, they have a lot of injury, they have a lot of incidents that happen where people actually got killed during it or seriously injured during it. So the thing with driving cars, there was a lot of examples where I think it was the Chevy Volt car. Someone got trapped by the car in their garage trying to get out so that he can like move his wife's car so he can park his car, when the car suddenly moved and trapped him to the side of the wall. So he was there for like half an hour. Nobody heard him. He screamed, but nothing. So he was seriously injured. And the thing is, when he left the car, it wasn't safe for him to exit the car. So at that point, the car should have alarmed him that it's not safe. I don't know what was the setting he was supposed to do, maybe like click some button or something, and the car should have like alerted him, but it didn't. So he got off the car thinking it's safe, and then it smashed him. So whose fault is it?
I agree with what you say, but I also feel it's a bit debatable because, incidents and accidents happen even before AI and tech safety features were launched by brands, and they still continue to happen. I think very, like the way you said, it's more about like we as probably human beings could be more aware that there's only a certain help we can get with safety features on tech brands, and beyond that we'll have to start being more aware or conscious of, if this doesn't work, what's our plan B, something like that. And unfortunately, I feel what is happening is most of us are fully or as much as possible depending on these safety features, as opposed to getting our gray cells churning. Like, do you remember the time where we used to remember multiple phone numbers? Personally, now I don't even remember one except my own. It took me a few months to even memorize my own new number. So I feel like
it makes life easier. Yeah,
it does. But somewhere at the back of our mind, we could remember that there's only so much, like you very rightly said, that an AI or something that programmed can help you with. It's not. It could be 100%, which is great if it does help you, but it also could be very unfaithful as well, like the previous example that you said. On that note, I do remember reading about GM has this again safety feature called OnStar, which is if your car breaks down or you have an emergency situation, it will, or if you're in a remote area, it will immediately call up the assistance for help if it's a breakdown, or in case of an emergency, then the emergency number. Again, they have preset conditions. Your Bluetooth should be connected and your GPS should be switched on. You should have network. So if you're in a remote area and you don't have network, how is your OnStar feature going to work?
So if one of these conditions weren't met, it will not trigger the response?
No, it will not. And additionally, it's a subscription.
So you are paying.
So again, I'm just, wondering that having so many preset conditions, is that really, brands keeping safety in mind? Or is it just a marketing gimmick? Or maybe they're going to get better as they see instances, people reporting things, because my only flag, or I would say thing that keeps popping in my head are these preset conditions. Like, if we have to have so many preset conditions for one safety feature to work, what if I forget to turn something on?
Yeah, it defeats the purpose of the entire feature.
And on top of that, we have to pay for a subscription. It's like, okay.
So what you said just made the question pop in my head, since I have a background in technology, and so I studied electronics engineering. I was so passionate about it. And from what I noticed, or from what I think, is that when people get into technology, they think of the endless possibilities that they can help the human. They can help our lives become better. So when you think about innovating something or coming up with new idea, the end goal for you is you want to solve a specific problem, no matter what the problem is. But what I think the problem is right now with all of these things happening is that when money comes into play, you kind of maybe rush into things. You kind of oversell your technology solution or whatever. So that's give us the question: is technology really to help us, or just to make the people who create it more rich? So, for example, like any new technology that comes into areas where it can affect human lives, like, for example, the self-driving cars, or the emergency on the iPhone, or maybe in aviation with the drones, and with all of this, wherever a new technology comes, there has to be regulation for it. So it must be used under, let's say, certain circumstances by qualified people, stuff like that. So these usually developing the technology takes a lot of time for it to actually manifest, but these regulation, I don't think they take too much time on it, because they want to launch. Since the technology is working, they just want to launch. They want people to pay. They want to get their money back and some more. So that's why I think some of these features, some of these technologies, I don't want to say they weren't tested, because I'm sure they've done testing, but how can we say that this is enough? How can they actually be sure that this is not gonna affect people's life? Because I feel like you said, incidents have been happening since the beginning of time, and new technologies have faced a lot of challenges from people. Some people accept it, some people don't accept it, some people go into protest and actually signing petition for something not to be launched. But since the electricity, but right now, we see a lot of people adopting technology more faster. So the community we are in, the world we are living in, are accepting technology. So we need to make sure that this technology actually answers their questions. The need they have for this technology, it has to be met.
You have actually brought up a very interesting point or a very interesting perspective that I had never thought about. So I'm going to ask you this question, and you can tell me if you agree with it or not. Since you said, since the beginning of time, people are, coming with inventions like electricity,
Is the internet,
smartphones, flights. So up until a certain period of time, aeroplanes, they helped us get from point A to point B at larger distances. It simplified the method or mode of traveling. It saved our time as opposed to, taking the route of water. Smartphones also answered a lot of our
communication.
Brought in a lot of solutions for us in terms of answering to the problems that we have. Do you feel tech brands are now pushing technological advancement just for the heck of it, because now we've become a community that accepts or is more open to technological advances or developments? Do you feel that's what brand? So. Because now maybe, like you said, there might not be a need of a safety feature, and they're just like, okay, let's create this and see what happens. Because it feels like up until a certain point of time, yes, a lot of brands, brought in solutions, and they even brought in solutions to problems that never even existed or that we didn't even think could have a solution. Yeah. But maybe now they're pushing it a little bit more,
I think so. I think there are some brands that might do that. There is a need right now to be the first. Like the people who adopted the internet when it first came out, they are doing really well right now. They've gone like miles ahead of other people who were skeptical, like, what is this thing? So as a humans, we have that need to be the first. It's one thing to adopt something that it's new, but it's an entirely different thing that you are the one who came up with that. So I think that's why most of the companies are pushing themselves and pushing their employees to create new things, to create new technology, to change the life of the people. I am pro that 100%. I think I love technology. I think that technology can really help people, but it also brings us back to the point of at what cost? Why are you doing that? Like, why are you creating this technology? And did you make sure 100% that it won't affect people's life? Like, yes, bad things might happen, but when it happened from a human being, I think it's more acceptable. Like, that's how it has always been. But when something that wasn't necessary in the beginning causes that thing to happen, that's when it raises the questions like, why did you do it? Whose fault is it? Who we can blame? Like, we can sentence a person, but what we're going to do with the AI.
On that note, I'm going to say that since we've become a community that is more accepting of these tech features and new tech features that have been brought into the market, the blame partially lies on us as well, because the more quicker we are accepting these features, the more quickly brands are also looking into features, like you said, that probably doesn't even, we don't even need it. There's no problem to which they are creating that solution. Yeah. So I feel the blame lies on both the people accepting and then the brands getting motivated and, creating more and more to see, okay, where are people going to stop accepting? So until then, they're going to probably just keep creating it.
Actually, there is a question that came to my head right now. So with the technology advancing, like let's go back to the driverless cars. So Uber, I think, launched something that like an Uber car, but driverless car. So the car just walks around its route, people book it, they jump in, they decide their location, it drops them off. And I think in its first year or months, I'm not sure, they had an accident where they killed a woman on the street. That's not the subject. That's not what the question I want to talk about. It's not about the safety. It's about the more the technology is evolving, the less need there is for human beings. Like now with the driverless car, you don't need the captains or like the drivers who drive the car. So that's less job. So how is it helping? And at the same time, like a lot of people are getting laid off and they are replaced with technology. So it's also have like
it has the economical impact as well.
Yeah.
Where people are losing jobs, they don't have a source of income, or yeah, I think that raises another fair question about the same topic.
Right now we have like a fairly good view of how the future might look like, what type of jobs that are going to be required, what type of jobs that are not going to be required. So if like we as a humans try to install these ideas or install these fields into young people's minds since the start, and try to slowly eliminate all the other fields that we know for sure that we will not be needing them. Like if there is a certain job that you can replace with a computer program, so why teach that?
I agree.
From the start. So
on the point of, where you said we kind of have an idea how the future is, what the future holds for us, do you think it's going to be something like a Black Mirror episode?
I hope so. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, I don't think we are there yet. I think in our heads we exaggerate how the future might look. Like right now, people back then thought that 2022 is going to be like flying cars. But we just saw a flying car in an exhibition. So it's not something that's going to come to the streets anytime soon. So yeah, we are progressing slowly, and in some other areas progressing really fast.
Quickly.
Like there is a lot of technologies that are helping with the medical field, like doing operations, which wasn't thought of back then. So you never know what the future might hold regarding technology.
All right. Well, thank you, Marwa, for sharing your opinion on this topic, and also thank you for your time. That brings us to the end of our session, and do let us know what is your opinion about safety features that tech brands are introducing. Do you really believe they have our back, or if it's just a marketing gimmick? Thank you.
See you next episode. Bye.